Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back, Jamie here today, and we're going to be re-ranking the Halloween series from worst to best. I haven't done one of these lists since Halloween 2018 came out, so I figured it's time for an update. And now with the hiatus between Halloween ends and whenever we get a new film or TV show or whatever, obviously there'll be a new Halloween movie eventually, but right now we're on hiatus, so I thought why not. Got to include kills and ends inside this list, and there's a few notes before I start. I'm not going to include Halloween 3. I do like the film, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I've reviewed it on the channel if you want to check it out. But I don't think it's fair to rank it with the rest of the films, because all I'm going to say is like, oh, Michael Myers is not inside the film. It's not based on Michael Myers. But yeah, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Halloween 3, check out the review. Also, there's going to be spoilers, mild spoilers throughout this video. I won't be spoiling too much, but when I talk about like Halloween ends, for instance, and stuff like that. So yeah, be warned about spoilers. And Halloween's my favourite franchise, in case you can't tell. I got a Halloween 4 shirt on here. Got my mask set up down there. I love this franchise. Michael's my number one like horror icon. But yeah, let's start this list off. Starting off at number 12, I've got Halloween Resurrection, of course. The only good thing I can say about this film is they actually kill Laurie Strode off, and for the first time we see what Michael would do without, you know, the motivation of killing his sister. That's the only good thing about this film. I don't like the mask, I hate the story, I hate the whole webcam thing. Busta Rhymes as well, like obviously he's funny inside the film, but he makes Michael like a bitch, he really does. And I know people like that, and obviously the test audiences, he was originally supposed to die, but everyone's like, put more Busta Rhymes in it. Annoying characters as well, like, I don't find anything fun about this film. It's definitely the worst of the franchise for me. At number 11, I've got Halloween 5. To me, this film, there's so many problems with it. I know some people like it for like being, you know, a different kind of theme or whatever, but I hate that they killed Rachel off from like the first 10 minutes of the film, 15 minutes or whatever. The mask as well, like Jesus Christ, what is up with that mask? And no one just took it in. Like, it's really important inside the series to get Michael right, and this film is just a plain example of getting it wrong. The stupid cops as well with the clown music, Michael crying inside the attic when he takes the mask off in front of Jamie, like what was that? I guess what's fun about this film is seeing Donald Pleasance, you know, Dr. Loomis. He's completely batshit crazy inside this film, using Jamie as hostage and all that, like, bait and everything to get Michael in. I mean, that's why it's not the worst of the franchise for me. Like, there's some sort of redeeming factors in it, but for the most part, it's just complete rubbish. And, you know, Halloween 4 was so good, like we'll talk about soon. I got a shirt on. To follow up with this a year later, it's ridiculous. At number 10, I've got Rob Zombie's Halloween 2007, the remake. I hate the backstory in this. Whenever I watch it, I just feel like skipping the first, 40 minutes when Michael was a kid and he just comes up from a broken home. Like, how many Michaels would there be then? Especially inside that neighborhood. I doubt he's the only one going through that similar type of stuff. But, you know, Ronnie's a funny character at the beginning. You know, he says some ridiculous stuff, but he's funny. And I'll give Rob Zombie credit. This is probably like one of the best Halloween movies with the cast. Like, the cast is so good inside this. Like, so many horror icons. I know a lot work with Rob Zombie. There's so many great actors inside this film. And once it gets into the remake part, it's not that bad. I do enjoy some of it. Obviously, Scout Taylor as Laurie Strode's really good. Daniel Harris as well. Tyler Mane as Michael, he's intimidating and strong and massive. And that's, you know, I do like the mask. It was the first one to do the raid, like the aging, rotten type mask. I prefer Halloween 2 over this, to be honest. I really do. Like I said, I just don't see why you have to make Michael come from a broken home. There'll be like 5 different Michaels from that neighborhood because they're all like, you know, similar upbringing and stuff like that. At number 9, I got Halloween H2O. To me, this doesn't even feel like a Halloween film. It feels like a Scream movie, it really does. And I hate the mask. Oh my god, Michael's not intimidating in this. Then the guy who played him says like he wants to be like a cat or whatever. It's like, that's not Michael. This film, I hate it the more years go on. Like, when it first came out, obviously I was still young, but when I eventually watched it, I did enjoy it. But then as the series has gone on and I've grown up more, I don't like it at all. They should have stuck with the Halloween 6 mask at the beginning. You know, the CGI mask and all that they'd use is ridiculous. I will say this though, I do like Laurie Strode's portrayal inside this. It makes sense, you know, 20 years later after Halloween 1 and 2. And I do like the ending as well, until, you know, they retcon it in Halloween Resurrection. But yeah, that's about it really. Like, I do like the Laurie Strode character, but Michael, oh my god, I do not like Michael inside this film. For number 8, I've got the original Halloween 2. I love how it continues from the original. On Halloween night, I always watch the original and Halloween 2 back to back. And it is a good film, but I just feel like some of it drags. Like, Laurie inside the hospital, she does nothing. Her and the whole Jimmy storyline's just stupid. The best part's like Michael's really good inside this film. Obviously the mask is a little bit different because of Deborah Hill like keeping it underneath her bed. And you know, you got Dr. Loomis again. You gotta love Dr. Loomis. R.I.P. Ben Tramer as well. But I feel like some of this film, like, it's not boring, but there's some parts where nothing really goes on. And obviously this introduced the brother and sister thing that John Carpenter, you know, regrets. But that's sort of what the series was about, really, wasn't it? Like Michael hunting down his family. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, I just feel like when I watch it, some of it's boring. Like Laurie, she does nothing. She really does nothing inside like this film until the end, really. And then at number 7, I've got Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I really like the portrayal of PTSD in this. Like all the characters are scarred, even the faces, you know, from the events of the remake. And I love that as well. I know a lot of people only like the beginning 20 minutes inside the hospital, but I feel like this whole film, for the most part, it's pretty good. Like, I don't like the white horse stuff or anything like that, but I appreciate Rob was doing his own thing. Like, you know, if you're going to do a Halloween, at least do your own thing. There's only so many times you can see Michael stalking the streets and killing babysitters, but at the same time, people come to see that. And, you know, the acting as well, just like the remake. Brad Dourif, man, as Sheriff Brackett inside this when Annie dies. Oh my days, man. But like I said, I don't like the white horse stuff. I don't like Michael speaking either. And, you know, it's a decent film. I feel like it gets hated a little bit too much. You just gotta look at it as something different. A lot of people always say, oh, it's not the original. Like, we're never gonna get the original again. The original Halloween. They're never going to be able to top that anyway, so why not try something different? But I understand why it pisses off some people as well, because it is a complete departure from the characters that we're used to. And at number 6, I've got Halloween Ends, the latest film inside the series. It tried something different again, and I appreciated it. I know a lot of people pissed off because the marketing, Laurie versus Michael, and it only happens at the end. But that's not David Gordon Green, that's, you know, Blumhouse or Universal or whatever coming up with the trailers. I do love Corey. Going into this film, you know, hearing the leaks and all this copycat killer, I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna hate this character. I love Corey, man. It was so good. But I understand why people are upset, because the trilogy, it doesn't really feel like it flows together. Like, as a standalone film, Halloween Ends is really good, but the ending, though, that tacked on ending with Laurie and Michael just fighting, and then of course, you know, we all know what happens to Michael at the end. I'm not a fan of that at all. But the more I watch this film, I've seen it twice inside cinemas now, I do appreciate it more. Obviously it's not my favourite. I do have problems with it, you know, Corey taking Michael's mask and all that, but I appreciate he actually went there. I do, and I feel like over years it's going to be more appreciated as well. For number 5, I've got Halloween 2018. It was a return to the franchise, and you know, it was so good. The mask, they got everything right. They got John Carpenter back as well doing the score, which this last 3 films is probably my favourite score of the series. Like, I'm a synth-head as well, but I just love it. It's so good. Like I said, the mask, they got Michael right. That's one of the most important parts of these films, and the mask is one of the best ever. The characters are good as well, but I just don't like Laurie, you know, holding on to 40 years later, just the events of Halloween 1, because they retcon everything else, don't they? They're not brother and sister anymore. And it just, I know a lot of people have said this, and I agree, it doesn't, like, Halloween H2O did it better, and they should have really, like, reversed the order of this trilogy with the films. Like, they're not perfect, but I feel like if you get Michael right, and the kills are good, and, you know, the characters are decent for the most part, then you've made a good film, really. For number 4, I've got Halloween 4, just like I got the shirt on right here. Great continuation, because, you know, we had Halloween 3 and then Halloween 4 comes back with Michael, and the characters are really good as well. I do love Jamie Lloyd, and we got Dr. Loomis back as well. Rachel's a good character as well, until unfortunately kill her off in Halloween 5. I don't mind Brady either. Brady's alright. And we got Mika as well, the sheriff, he's good as well. Like I said, all good characters. They really capture the Halloween atmosphere. The only downside to this film for me is the mask. And I know he gets it from the shop, so it's not technically the same mask, but still, like I said, it's important to have the mask inside this film, like, look good. And even on the poster, look, they used the original mask and we didn't actually get that. Like I said, inside the story, it makes sense because he robs it from the drugstore or whatever, but still, it's not as bad as Halloween 5's mask, but that's the only really downfall I can say for this. And the way Michael looks, like, with the shoulder, like, you know, he's more, I don't know what the word is, but yeah. That's the only downside of Halloween 4 for me, is Michael, like how he looks. Everything else is really good. This might shock some people, but for number 3, I've got Halloween Kills. For me, this is pretty much one of the ultimate slashers, really. Like, the mask is even better than 2018 because we've got the burnt damage on it. The kills, I mean, it's called Halloween Kills for a reason, man. Michael's brutal inside this film, and I watch these films for Michael. I don't watch them for Laurie or, you know, anything else. The main appeal for me is Michael and Dr. Loomis, but, you know, we can't have Loomis. But we got Loomis inside the flashback as well, and I feel like they did a great job with that. Even the flashback mask as well. Christopher Nelson's so amazing. But like I said again, the soundtrack in this film, so good. Everything about this film I love. The only bit I don't like is the corny dialogue and the whole hospital bit. Like, even Laurie's inside the hospital for most of it, but she's more, you know, she's doing more, I guess. But the whole evil dies tonight, of course, no one likes that. I understand that what they're going for, where they make someone innocent like die and all that, but that's the only bit I don't like about this film is the hospital scenes. That's it. Everything else, Michael's brutal and amazing. I just don't understand the hate for it, really. Like, people flip-flop. Like, they hate Halloween Ends because there's no Michael, but they hated Halloween Kills because Michael goes on a killing spree. It's like, well, what do you want then? For number 2, I got Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, I've loved this film for years. Nostalgia reasons, I've even got a Curse of Thorn tattoo. I just love how batshit crazy it is. And between the producer's cut and the theatrical cut, I feel like there's a good movie. Like, obviously, there's some bits in the producer's cut I hate, like the whole Jamie Lloyd betrayal and what happens to her and everything like that. You're 6 movies in, you're going to explain why Michael the way he is. Like, go all out with it. I appreciate The Curse of Thorn, I really do. I appreciate it. It's a good film. Like I said, between the 2 cuts, there's a really good film. And Michael in this, he's one of the scariest of all time. The mask is amazing as well. And he's just really intimidating. Like the hospital scene towards the end in the theatrical cut, he just goes on a rampage. Paul Rudd as well as Tommy, much better than what we got in Halloween Kills. Obviously it was hated at the time, it still is now, but for me, like, even when I was a kid I loved it. But I mean, you can already guess what number 1 is at this point. Michael is just so brutal in it, the characters are good. It's the last betrayal of Dr. Loomis as well by Donald Pleasance, so it's got like a somber, you know, feel to it towards the end. I just love Halloween 6. Brings us to number 1, obviously Halloween 1978. It's a classic for a reason. It's the reason why I love horror films. It's the first one I saw. Like, what can you say about it, man? It started the whole franchise. It made Michael, like, can you imagine being inside the theatre at 1978 and you're not expecting, like, you know, Halloween isn't a thing yet. And I can understand why it would scare people like the way it did. It's so good. I love this film so much. Like, the only downside to it, I can say really, is some of the dialogue, like, you know, totally and all that. Some of the characters are kind of annoying. But, you know, you got Laurie Strode, Donald Pleasance playing Dr. Loomis, Michael Myers, Nick Castle the first time. Like, I don't agree with what some people say where, like, the original is always the best. But in this case, the original is the best. Halloween 1978 is definitely the best of the franchise for me. But yeah, this has been my list. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully it's not too long until we get another Halloween film. Peace out in a bit.